passion is even applicable for the person that's going into the nursing home and is now a little bit frightened and unsure about the future that lies ahead. This passion thing is for everybody. I believe that passion is most accurately illustrated by a principle my father used to teach me. Gordon Lindquist used to say, and it's a lot like Stephen Covey's principle of begin with the end in mind. Dad said, "Hey, Mark, I know what you want to be when you grow up." I said, "Dad, what's that?" He said, "Mark, here's the deal. You want to be at the end of your life, looking back at the years that you've lived, and you want to be sitting in a rocking chair on the front porch. And you got all the neighborhood kids gathered around you, and they say, 'Uncle Mark, Grandpa Mark, tell me about life.' Dad says, you never want to have to sit in that chair and look those kids in the eye and say, 'I wish I would have.' What you want to be is you want to be sitting on that front porch at the end of your life looking back at the years that you've lived, and you want to say, 'Hey kids, gather round. Let me tell you the tale of adventure about the time that I'm glad I did.'" That's what you want to be. It's a talk called Passion, 8 Steps to Reignite Yours. One of the other things that we speak about is service and giving back in community and volunteerism in your life's work. I teach a principle that Magic Johnson once taught me when I was 17 years old. Of all the things that Magic could have taught us, he said to us, "Kids, a life well lived is a life spent giving back to those who have given so much to you." This principle of a life meant serving others, lived to serve others. I tell stories about my father, who was in the Peace Corps and gave that example to me. My stay-at-home mother on a farm. See, I grew up in a small town. Anybody familiar with the town I grew up in? It's called the booming metropolis of Ortonville, Minnesota. Population 2,000. In Ortonville, you know towns like Ortonville. Ortonville's one of those towns with one gas station and one grocery store, and when the Dairy Queen came to town, woo! That's a big deal. I talk about growing up in a small town, living a life contributing to the lives of others. It's called service, my way of life. The final topic we speak about is gratitude. And I tell that story and teach that principle like this. I was sitting in a boardroom in Southeast Washington, D.C., when all of a sudden, the windows shook. We sent somebody out into the hallway to see what was the matter, and they came back with nothing to report. The meeting broke for the morning coffee break, and we went out into the hallway, and I saw 2 of my colleagues, and they were hugging, and they were crying. I walked a few steps further, and I saw one of my colleagues on the telephone, and they were crying too. Because this was the morning of Tuesday, September 11th of 2001. I was stationed in Washington, D.C. with an AmeriCorps group. We were attached to an American Red Cross disaster action team, and for the days and weeks following 9/11, we were deployed to the ground zero at the Pentagon and worked there as an emergency support worker. And I teach, we've all got this shared experience. We all remember where we were on 9/11, just like my father remembers where he was when Kennedy was shot. I take this shared experience and I teach gratitude. I teach about being thankful for the things that we have. So I teach a principle that I call the best person that you have ever been. Because I believe that the best person that you and I have ever been is the person we were on 9/12/2001. On that day, we called our mother and we told her that we loved her. We hugged our kids a little tighter that night. You see, on 9/12/2001, I believe we were the best version of ourselves we've ever been. We were the most caring, kind, compassionate, loving, giving, patient person we have ever been. We had more gratitude and we were more thankful for the things and the people in our life than we have ever been. And that's a talk that we call gratitude. Live it. You see, my friends, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen is you've come here today to this beautiful hotel and location, and you've enjoyed the wonderful speakers that Nationally Speaking has put in front of you, and you're going to be in your office tomorrow. And you're going to have your program there, and you're going to say, man, I feel on fire for life because of the things I heard. Speakers from all over the country, the best of the best, came here on this stage. And then you're going to be thumbing through the different speakers. You're going to think to yourself, how can I possibly remember my favorite speaker? I want to help you. His name is Mark J. Lindquist.